Understanding emotional triggers is the foundation of mastering a calm mind. Every person has specific situations, words, or experiences that cause an automatic emotional reaction. These triggers often stem from past experiences, deep-seated fears, or insecurities that have gone unchecked for years. When a person reacts strongly to a situation, it is not always about what is happening in that moment. It is often a resurfacing of past emotional wounds. Recognizing this is the first step in gaining control over one's reactions. Many people go through life without ever questioning why they feel irritated, anxious, or angry in certain situations. They believe that the reactions are justified simply because they feel strong emotions. But emotions are not always a reflection of reality. They are often a projection of internal narratives and past experiences. If someone has been repeatedly criticized in their early years, they may react defensively to any form of constructive feedback, even when it is meant to help them. If someone has been betrayed before, they might assume the worst intentions in others even when there is no real threat. These automatic responses create unnecessary conflict, stress, and misunderstanding. To stay calm in any situation, a person must first develop the habit of self-observation. The moment an emotion rises, instead of immediately reacting, there needs to be a pause. That brief moment of awareness is the difference between acting out of impulse and responding with intention. Instead of lashing out, withdrawing, or letting frustration take over, the mind must ask, why am I feeling this way? What exactly triggered this response? This simple act of questioning weakens the grip of the emotion. It shifts the focus from being consumed by feelings to analyzing them, which instantly reduces their intensity. The next step is to separate the trigger from the actual situation. A calm mind does not take everything personally. If someone makes a critical comment, it does not necessarily mean they are attacking or disrespecting. If something does not go as planned, it is not always a sign of failure. By training the mind to detach from the immediate emotional reaction, a person gains clarity. Instead of reacting in anger or frustration, they can assess the situation logically and respond in a way that is beneficial rather than destructive. Another essential practice is emotional labeling. Instead of saying, I am angry or I am anxious, it is more effective to say, I am experiencing anger or I am noticing anxiety. This small shift in language creates psychological distance between the self and the emotion. It reinforces the idea that emotions are temporary states, not permanent identities. This simple technique can drastically improve a person's ability to stay calm because it prevents emotions from taking over completely. Training the mind to stay calm also requires an understanding of perspective. Many situations that trigger an emotional response are minor in the grand scheme of life. A delay, a disagreement, or an unexpected challenge may feel frustrating in the moment, but will it matter in a week, in a year? Most of the time, the answer is no. Developing this awareness helps to prevent unnecessary emotional reactions and encourages a more composed response. The final step is repeated exposure and practice. Emotional control is not built overnight. It is developed through consistent effort. Every situation that provokes an emotional reaction is an opportunity to train the mind. By repeatedly pausing, questioning, and reinterpreting triggers, the mind gradually becomes stronger, more stable, and more resilient. Over time, situations that once caused stress and frustration lose their power. The mind no longer reacts impulsively, but responds with wisdom and composure. This is the foundation of true inner strength and unshakable calm. Mastering your breath and body language is one of the most powerful ways to maintain composure in any situation. The body and mind are deeply connected, and the way one carries themselves physically has a direct impact on emotional stability. In moments of stress, uncertainty, or conflict, the body reacts instinctively. Muscles tense, breath becomes shallow, and posture collapses. These physical changes send signals to the brain that reinforce a state of panic or frustration. However, by taking control of these automatic responses, it is possible to shift the mind from chaos to calm almost instantly. Breathing is the simplest yet most effective tool for regulating emotions. When a person is stressed, their breathing becomes rapid and shallow, which triggers the body's fight or flight response. This state makes it difficult to think clearly, react rationally, or maintain composure. But the moment the breath is consciously controlled, the nervous system begins to calm down. A slow, deep breath sends a signal to the brain that there is no immediate danger, allowing the body to relax and the mind to regain clarity. This is why deep breathing techniques such as diaphragmatic breathing or the 4-8-7-8 method are widely used in high-pressure situations. By taking a deep breath in, holding it briefly, and exhaling slowly, the entire physiological response to stress can be shifted within seconds. Beyond breath control, body language plays an equally crucial role in maintaining calm. Many people are unaware of how their posture, facial expressions, and gestures influence their emotions. Slouching, crossing the arms, clenching the jaw, or making erratic movements reinforce feelings of discomfort and unease. When the body appears defensive, the mind adopts a defensive state. But by intentionally standing tall, relaxing the shoulders, and keeping movements controlled, confidence and calmness are reinforced. Even something as simple as maintaining eye contact and keeping a steady posture can significantly affect how a situation unfolds. The way a person holds themselves does not just influence their own emotions, it also affects how others perceive and react to them. One of the most important aspects of mastering body language is learning to slow down. Stress often causes rushed speech, quick gestures, and fidgeting, all of which create an impression of anxiety and uncertainty. By consciously slowing down movements, speaking in a measured tone, and maintaining deliberate gestures, a sense of calm authority is established. This not only helps to control one's own emotional state, but also influences the energy of those around. In a tense conversation, a calm and composed presence has the power to de-escalate conflict, while frantic body language does the opposite. Another key factor is relaxation. Training the body to remain loose and at ease under pressure prevents tension from building up. Simple techniques such as progressive muscle relaxation, stretching, or even mindful movement help reinforce the habit of staying physically composed. When the body is relaxed, the mind follows. This is why athletes, performers, and leaders practice techniques to maintain poise in high-stress situations. They understand that physical composure translates into mental strength. Incorporating these practices into daily life is what makes them second nature. Controlled breathing should become a habit, not just something used in moments of stress. Maintaining strong posture should feel natural rather than forced. The more these techniques are practiced, the easier it becomes to remain calm under pressure. Over time, the body learns to default to a state of stability rather than panic. Instead of reacting to stress with tension and anxiety, the response becomes measured and composed. This ability to maintain control, even in the face of difficulty, is what separates those who crumble under pressure from those who remain unshaken. Reframing negative thoughts is one of the most powerful mental tools for staying calm in any situation. The way a person perceives an event shapes their emotional response more than the event itself. Two people can experience the exact same situation, but react entirely differently based on how they interpret it. One may see it as a disaster, while the other views it as a challenge or an opportunity. The mind has a natural tendency to focus on the negative, especially in stressful situations, because it is wired for survival. However, this instinct often leads to unnecessary fear, anxiety, and frustration. The key to staying calm is learning how to shift perspective and take control of these thoughts before they spiral out of control. Every negative thought is a story the mind creates. When something does not go as planned, the immediate reaction is often filled with self-doubt, blame, or fear of failure. A person might think, "This always happens to me," or "I'm not good enough to handle this." These thoughts are not necessarily true, but if they are believed without question, they shape emotions and behavior. The first step in reframing negativity is to challenge these automatic responses. Instead of accepting them as facts, the mind must ask, is this really true? And is there another way to look at this? By questioning negative thoughts, their power weakens and alternative perspectives begin to emerge. A crucial aspect of reframing is focusing on solutions instead of problems. When faced with a difficult situation, the default reaction is often frustration or helplessness. However, a calm mind shifts the focus from "why is this happening to me?" to "what can I do about this?" This simple shift in thinking changes everything. Instead of wasting energy on complaining or overanalyzing the problem, the mind starts looking for ways to move forward. Even in situations where immediate action is not possible, shifting the focus to personal growth and learning can transform an obstacle into a valuable lesson. Language plays a huge role in shaping thoughts. Words like always, never, can't, and impossible create a mindset of limitation and reinforce negativity. Changing these words to sometimes, yet, possible, and opportunity instantly shifts the emotional tone. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," replacing it with, "I haven't figured this out yet," keeps the mind open to growth and solutions. Instead of saying, "This is a disaster," rewording it to, "This is a challenge I can overcome," prevents panic and reinforces confidence. The words used in internal dialogue shape the emotional state, and choosing them wisely can make a significant difference. Gratitude is another powerful tool for reframing negativity. No matter how difficult a situation may be, there is always something to be grateful for. The mind cannot focus on negativity and gratitude at the same time. When frustration or stress starts taking over, shifting focus to even the smallest positive aspects of life can bring immediate relief. Whether it is the lessons learned from failure, the support of loved ones, or even the simple fact of being alive and capable, gratitude interrupts the cycle of negative thinking and brings clarity. This mental shift does not happen overnight. Reframing negative thoughts is a habit that must be built through consistent practice. The more the mind is trained to challenge negativity and shift focus, the easier it becomes to remain calm under pressure. Over time, what once seemed overwhelming or stressful begins to feel manageable. The mind learns to default to resilience instead of panic, strength instead of fear. This ability to control perception is one of the greatest advantages in life because it determines not only how challenges are faced, but also how inner peace is maintained, regardless of the circumstances. Practicing emotional detachment is one of the most valuable skills in maintaining a calm and composed mind. Most people go through life reacting emotionally to every situation, allowing external events to dictate their inner state. When something upsetting happens, they take it personally. When someone criticizes them, they feel attacked. When plans do not go as expected, they become frustrated or anxious. This constant emotional reactivity not only drains mental energy, but also creates unnecessary suffering. However, by learning to observe emotions without being controlled by them, it is possible to navigate even the most challenging situations with clarity and stability. Emotional detachment does not mean suppressing feelings or becoming indifferent to life. It means creating enough space between emotions and reactions to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. Many people believe that their emotions define them, but this is not true. Emotions are temporary states that come and go like waves in the ocean. The problem arises when people attach their identity to these passing feelings. When someone feels anger, instead of saying, "I am angry," it is more effective to say, "I am experiencing anger." This small shift in language creates psychological distance and makes it easier to manage emotions rather than being overwhelmed by them. One of the most common reasons people struggle with emotional detachment is because they take everything personally. When someone says something negative or behaves rudely, it is easy to assume it is a direct attack, but in reality, people's actions are often a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, or state of mind. A person who is constantly negative or critical is likely dealing with their own inner battles. Realizing this helps to remove the emotional charge from interactions and prevents unnecessary conflict. Instead of reacting with frustration or hurt, a calm mind can respond with understanding or simply disengage. Another key aspect of emotional detachment is letting go of the need for control. A significant source of stress comes from trying to control things that are beyond personal influence, whether it is other people's opinions, unexpected changes, or external circumstances. The truth is, no matter how much effort is put into controlling every detail, life will always be unpredictable. The more a person resists this reality, the more frustration and anxiety they experience. But by accepting that uncertainty is a natural part of life, it becomes easier to adapt with grace rather than resist with tension. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in emotional detachment. When a difficult situation arises, instead of getting lost in emotions, simply observing them can be transformative. Noticing the physical sensations of stress, the rapid thoughts, or the rising tension in the body without immediately reacting allows emotions to pass more quickly. Thoughts and feelings are like clouds in the sky. They come and go, but they do not have to control behavior. By practicing mindfulness, the mind learns to remain centered even when emotions are intense. Detachment also involves setting emotional boundaries. Many people absorb the stress, negativity, or opinions of others without realizing it. If someone around them is upset, they feel obligated to take on that emotion as well. But maintaining inner peace requires the ability to separate personal emotions from external influences. This does not mean ignoring or avoiding people's feelings, but rather recognizing that it is not necessary to internalize every emotional wave that others bring. Strengthening emotional boundaries helps to stay grounded even in the middle of chaos. Over time, practicing emotional detachment leads to a deep sense of calm and resilience. Instead of reacting impulsively to every challenge, there is a growing ability to step back, assess the situation, and respond with clarity. Life's difficulties no longer feel overwhelming because they no longer have the power to dictate emotions. With emotional detachment, the mind becomes an anchor in the storm, steady, strong, and unshaken by temporary waves. Developing patience and tolerance is one of the most powerful ways to maintain inner calm in any situation. Many people allow impatience and frustration to dictate their reactions, whether it is waiting in a long line, dealing with difficult people, or facing setbacks in life. The inability to remain patient creates unnecessary stress and tension, making even small inconveniences feel overwhelming. However, patience is not simply about waiting. It is about maintaining a composed and balanced state of mind while waiting. It is about trusting the process and understanding that not everything in life happens according to personal timelines or expectations. The modern world has conditioned people to seek instant results. Everything is fast: communication, entertainment, access to information. This creates an expectation that everything should happen immediately. When things take longer than expected, frustration sets in, but real progress, meaningful relationships, and personal growth all take time. When a person rushes through life, they not only increase their own stress, but also miss valuable lessons along the way. Impatience is often rooted in the fear of not being in control, When something does not happen on schedule, there is a sense of helplessness. But true strength comes from embracing uncertainty and knowing that time will unfold things as they are meant to be. Tolerance is equally important in staying calm, especially when dealing with other people. No two individuals think, behave, or perceive the world in the same way. Differences in opinions, values, and attitudes are natural. Yet, many people react negatively when confronted with perspectives that challenge their own. They become irritated, defensive, or even hostile. But emotional maturity means understanding that not everyone will think the same way, and that is okay. A tolerant mind does not seek to control others, but instead finds peace in understanding and coexistence. In difficult interactions, patience allows a person to respond rather than react. If someone is being rude or disrespectful, the immediate impulse might be to retaliate with the same energy. But reacting emotionally only escalates the situation. Instead, stepping back and giving the moment space prevents unnecessary conflict. A calm response, or sometimes even no response at all, often neutralizes negativity better than anger ever could. This is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, the ability to control one's own energy regardless of external circumstances. One of the best ways to cultivate patience is by shifting focus from the outcome to the process. Many frustrations arise from obsessing over results, waiting for success, waiting for recognition, waiting for things to go as planned. But life rarely moves in a straight line. There will always be delays, setbacks, and unexpected detours. The more a person resists these realities, the more suffering they create for themselves. Instead of constantly looking forward to the next thing, learning to be present each moment brings a deep sense of peace. Whether it is a conversation, a task, or a personal goal, engaging fully in the process rather than fixating on the destination builds natural patience. Practicing delayed gratification is another key to mastering patience. In a world of instant gratification, learning to wait for rewards strengthens mental discipline. Whether it is resisting the urge for immediate pleasure, staying committed to long-term goals, or working through challenges without giving up, patience is the foundation of success. It teaches that not everything good happens instantly, and the best things in life often require time, persistence, and effort. Over time, developing patience and tolerance transforms the way challenges are handled. Stress and frustration no longer control emotions. Situations that once seemed unbearable become manageable. Instead of reacting impulsively, responses become measured and wise. The ability to stay calm is no longer dependent on external conditions, but is instead rooted in inner strength and perspective. Building mental resilience is the key to staying calm in any situation. Life is unpredictable, and challenges will always arise. Stress, setbacks, criticism, failures. Many people break under pressure because they expect life to be easy or believe that difficulties are a sign of personal failure. But those who develop resilience understand that hardship is not something to be feared. It is something to be faced, adapted to, and overcome. A strong mind does not crumble under stress, but instead becomes sharper, more focused, and more determined. Resilience is what separates those who panic in adversity from those who remain calm and composed. One of the most important aspects of resilience is learning to embrace discomfort. Many people avoid difficult situations because they fear failure or rejection. They seek comfort in familiarity, but this only weakens the mind over time. Resilience is built through experience, by willingly stepping into challenges, by confronting fears, and by pushing through discomfort. When difficult situations arise, the mind automatically reacts based on what it has been conditioned to handle. If a person has never been exposed to stress, even minor setbacks will feel overwhelming. But if they have repeatedly faced discomfort and learned to navigate it, they will naturally remain calm under pressure. Resilience also comes from self-belief. When people doubt themselves, they become easily shaken by criticism or obstacles. They hesitate, second-guess their abilities, and allow fear to control their decisions. But those who trust their own strength do not allow failure to define them. They see setbacks as temporary rather than permanent. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle this," they remind themselves, "I've been through worse, and I've survived." This inner confidence becomes a shield against stress, allowing them to approach challenges with courage rather than fear. Another powerful way to build resilience is by developing emotional endurance. Many people are controlled by their emotions, reacting impulsively to everything that happens. If they feel discouraged, they stop trying. If they feel overwhelmed, they give up. But emotional endurance means learning to push forward even when motivation is low. It means understanding that feelings are temporary and do not have to dictate actions. A resilient mind does not wait to feel strong. It trains itself to act strong even in moments of doubt. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, and emotional ups and downs lose their power to disrupt focus. A key part of resilience is adapting to change. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned, and the ability to adjust to new circumstances is what keeps the mind steady. Many people resist change because they fear the unknown, but this resistance only creates more stress. A flexible mindset, however, sees change as an opportunity rather than a threat. Instead of focusing on what is lost, it looks for what can be gained. The ability to pivot, learn, and grow in new situations prevents frustration and anxiety from taking control. Resilience also requires a strong sense of purpose. When people have a clear reason for why they are doing something, they can endure almost any challenge. Those who lack purpose, however, are easily discouraged because they do not have a deep reason to keep going. Finding a purpose, whether it is personal growth, family, a career, or a mission, creates an inner drive that keeps the mind steady even in adversity. It provides a source of strength that goes beyond temporary emotions or external circumstances. Over time, mental resilience transforms how life is approached. Stress no longer feels overwhelming. Failure no longer feels like the end. Instead of reacting with panic or frustration, there's a natural sense of control and composure. The mind becomes unshaken by temporary struggles because it has been trained to withstand them. True calmness is not found in the absence of challenges, but in the ability to navigate them with clarity, strength, and unwavering resilience.